Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Beyond the Gates channel. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and hit like for more daily drama updates and spoilers. Your support truly means a lot and helps our channel grow every day. Now let's jump straight into today's exciting update. Before the dust has a chance to settle, Friday's episode of Beyond the Gates promises to pull viewers into a whirlwind of courtroom pressure, fragile new alliances, long-buried emotions, and an unforgettable surprise that no one sees coming. Every storyline carries its own emotional weight, yet together they create a powerful tapestry of conflict, redemption, and hope. As old enemies refuse to let go of the past and unexpected relationships begin to shift in surprising directions, every decision feels like it could change lives forever. The atmosphere is thick with uncertainty, where every conversation carries hidden meaning and every glance hints at battles still waiting to unfold. By the time the episode reaches its emotional conclusion, viewers will have traveled through heartbreak, determination, reconciliation, and tears that come not from pain alone, but from overwhelming love and gratitude. The biggest storm of the day centers around the lawsuit against Madison, and what begins as a routine legal proceeding quickly spirals into something far more dangerous. Her deposition takes center stage, but instead of offering relief or clarity, it only deepens the chaos for everyone involved. Every question seems sharper than the last, every answer opens another wound, and the pressure inside the room grows heavier with each passing moment. The atmosphere becomes suffocating as emotions threaten to overpower logic, leaving everyone involved wondering whether the truth will be enough to save her. What should have been another step in the legal process instead transforms into a brutal emotional battlefield where reputations, careers, and futures all hang by a thread. Madison already finds herself trapped in a nightmare she never deserved, burdened by what many believe is nothing more than a frivolous lawsuit designed to destroy her rather than seek justice. The case has become intensely personal, not because of the allegations themselves, but because of the man determined to make her suffer. Mike Davis, Bill's former law partner, has returned with one purpose burning brighter than anything else inside him: revenge. Ever since losing his place at the law firm the previous year, resentment has quietly grown into obsession, and now he finally believes he has the perfect opportunity to settle old scores. Walking back into familiar surroundings for the deposition, Mike carries himself with unmistakable confidence, convinced that the advantage belongs entirely to him. His certainty is written across every expression and every calculated move, making it painfully clear that this courtroom battle is about far more than legal arguments. It is about pride, vengeance, and proving that he can finally defeat the people he believes wronged him. Yet, Mike's confidence is destined to face fierce resistance. Bill refuses to allow his former partner's bitterness to dictate the outcome of this case, and Naomi stands firmly beside him, equally determined not to surrender an inch of ground. Together, they understand exactly what is at stake, because this lawsuit threatens much more than Madison's reputation. If she loses, the damage could be devastating, placing both her career and her financial future in serious jeopardy. Years of hard work, sacrifice, and professional dedication could disappear under the crushing weight of a single courtroom defeat. As tensions continue to escalate inside the deposition, every exchange becomes another test of endurance, every objection another reminder that victory will come only to those willing to fight until the very end. What unfolds is no longer simply a legal battle. It becomes a deeply personal struggle where loyalty, trust, and unwavering determination are pushed to their absolute limits. While one conflict explodes inside the legal arena, another story quietly begins to move in a surprisingly hopeful direction. Leslie's recent conversation with Monica could easily have followed the familiar pattern everyone has come to expect. Their history is filled with biting insults, painful accusations, simmering threats, and endless promises of revenge that never seem to fade. For years, every encounter between them has only deepened old wounds instead of healing them. But something has changed. There is a different energy surrounding Leslie now, a quieter confidence and a willingness to approach difficult situations with a fresh perspective. Their discussion about the hospital-free clinic partnership unfolds far more positively than anyone could have predicted, hinting that perhaps even the deepest divisions can begin to heal when people choose understanding over hostility. That same spirit of unexpected change continues as Leslie crosses paths with Darlene once again. Their latest encounter carries none of the explosive hostility that once defined their relationship. Instead, both women approach one another with cautious openness, as though they recognize that continuing the cycle of conflict will only create more pain for everyone around them. Darlene herself has been changing in meaningful ways, especially where Ava is concerned. Recently, she has made a genuine effort to treat Eva with greater kindness and compassion, understanding that stubborn pride may ultimately cost her something far more precious than winning an argument. Deep in her heart, Darlene knows she risks losing her son if she refuses to change, and that realization has forced her to confront uncomfortable truths about herself. As emotions settle and defenses slowly come down, Leslie and Darlene finally reach a new understanding, creating a moment that feels both fragile and incredibly significant. It is not complete forgiveness, nor is it an instant solution to every past mistake, but it represents the first genuine step towards something healthier, proving that even relationships scarred by years of resentment can still find room for hope. Their breakthrough arrives at a meaningful moment because almost simultaneously, Eva begins renegotiating her terms with Isaiah. Exactly what these new terms involve remains uncertain, creating fresh intrigue around her next chapter. Given everything Eva has endured, it is entirely possible that these discussions revolve around her recovery and the support she needs moving forward. Whatever the details may be, the timing feels deliberate, suggesting that several lives are quietly shifting in new directions all at once. As one relationship begins to mend, another enters unfamiliar territory, reinforcing the idea that healing often requires difficult conversations, uncomfortable compromises, and the courage to imagine a better future. The emotional momentum continues building as every character searches for stability in a world that seems determined to keep changing around them. Elsewhere, another deeply personal conversation promises to reveal emotional truths that have remained hidden for far too long. Danny finds herself discussing a sensitive matter, one that carries enormous emotional significance for those involved. If Naomi finally chooses to reveal that she tested positive for the BRCA gene, she knows exactly who she must turn to first. Ashley has carried this secret alongside Naomi from the very beginning, standing quietly beside her through the uncertainty, fear, and emotional burden that came with such life-changing news. Their connection has been strengthened by trust, making Ashley the one person capable of fully understanding everything Naomi has been struggling to carry alone. Should Naomi finally decide to share the truth more openly, the conversation promises to be filled with vulnerability, compassion, and the kind of emotional honesty that can forever change the course of a family's future. As the episode approaches its final emotional moments, another familiar face quietly returns to remind viewers that some of the most powerful scenes are not driven by conflict, but by love. It has been some time since June last appeared, though audiences fondly remember her presence during Samantha's unforgettable cotillion, the magical evening when her daughter proudly became Platinum Deb. That celebration marked a milestone filled with pride and hope, creating memories that neither mother nor daughter will ever forget. Now June steps back into the story, carrying something unexpected, a gift whose true significance is revealed only when emotions become impossible to contain. Whatever she receives overwhelms her completely, bringing tears streaming down her face in a moment that speaks louder than words ever could. Whether the gift represents gratitude, remembrance, reconciliation, or an expression of unconditional love, it leaves an unforgettable emotional mark on the episode. After a day filled with courtroom battles, shifting loyalties, personal revelations, and hard-earned understanding, June's heartfelt tears provide a beautiful reminder that sometimes the greatest surprises are not the ones that shock us. They are the ones that touch our hearts so deeply that all we can do is cry. As the emotional weight of the day continues to settle over Fairmont Crest, the consequences of every choice begin to ripple far beyond the people sitting inside the deposition room. What started as a legal proceeding now feels like the beginning of a much larger war, one that threatens to expose old betrayals and force everyone involved to reveal exactly where their loyalties truly lie. The tension refuses to fade even after the questioning pauses, because everyone understands that the hardest battles are often fought outside the courtroom rather than inside it. Every glance exchanged between Bill, Naomi, and Mike carries years of unresolved history, reminding them that this conflict did not begin with Madison's lawsuit. It began long before, with broken partnerships, wounded pride, and ambitions that eventually drove trusted colleagues onto opposite sides of the battlefield. Now those old scars have reopened, and every legal maneuver feels less like professional strategy and more like personal revenge, disguised behind polished arguments and carefully chosen words. For Madison, however, none of the legal games matter as much as the terrifying reality staring her in the face. She can feel the pressure mounting with every passing minute, knowing that one wrong answer or one cleverly manipulated statement could permanently alter everything she has worked so hard to build. Her career represents years of sacrifice, sleepless nights, and unwavering commitment, and now it all hangs in an agonizing state of uncertainty. Although she tries to maintain her composure, the emotional burden grows heavier with every challenge thrown her way. Fear constantly threatens to break through her calm exterior, but she refuses to let anyone see just how frightened she truly is. Somewhere beneath the anxiety remains a quiet determination, fueled by the hope that truth and perseverance will ultimately prove stronger than bitterness and deception. Bill watches the proceedings with the instincts of a seasoned attorney, but this case strikes him differently than most. Every move Mike makes feels painfully familiar because Bill once knew exactly how his former partner thought. That shared history becomes both an advantage and a painful reminder of everything they lost when their partnership collapsed. There was once trust between them, a belief that they were working toward the same goals, but that foundation has long since crumbled into resentment. Bill realizes that Mike is no longer simply trying to win a case. He wants to humiliate the people who remained after his departure. That understanding only strengthens Bill's resolve, convincing him that backing down would hand Mike exactly the victory he has been chasing ever since he walked away from the firm. Standing beside him, Naomi carries a different kind of burden. She is fighting not only for Madison's future, but also while quietly carrying the emotional weight of her own deeply personal secret. The possibility that she may finally reveal her positive BRCA test result lingers in the background of every interaction, making even ordinary conversations feel emotionally charged. She has spent so long protecting others from her fears that the idea of speaking openly about them feels almost overwhelming. Yet keeping such a life-changing truth hidden has become exhausting, and she knows the time may finally be approaching when silence is no longer an option. If that moment comes, Ashley will undoubtedly be the first person she leans on, because their friendship has already survived the difficult conversations that most relationships never face. Ashley has stood beside Naomi without judgment, offering quiet strength whenever fear threatened to become unbearable, and that bond may soon become more important than ever. Away from the courtroom, another emotional transformation continues unfolding in a far quieter but equally meaningful way. Leslie seems almost unrecognizable compared to the woman everyone has grown accustomed to over the years. Instead of allowing anger to guide every decision, she now pauses to consider possibilities that once seemed impossible. Her conversation with Monica has already hinted that change is not only possible, but genuinely taking root inside her. Rather than feeding another cycle of insults and retaliation, Leslie appears willing to explore common ground, especially when the future of the hospital-free clinic partnership is involved. It is a remarkable shift for someone whose relationships have so often been defined by conflict, and those around her cannot help but wonder whether this transformation is finally real. That question becomes even more compelling when Leslie's growing understanding with Darlene continues to develop. The two women approach one another with cautious respect, recognizing that endless hostility has accomplished nothing except creating pain for themselves and the people they love. Darlene's softer attitude toward Ava has not gone unnoticed, and it reflects a woman finally confronting the consequences of her own actions. She understands that if she refuses to evolve, she risks permanently damaging her relationship with her son, a price she is no longer willing to pay. Every effort she makes to treat Eva with kindness represents another step away from the bitterness that once consumed her. Leslie recognizes that effort, and rather than meeting it with suspicion, she responds with a willingness to listen. Their newfound understanding does not erase the past, but it creates something perhaps even more valuable, a chance to build a better future without allowing old wounds to dictate every decision. Meanwhile, Eva's negotiations with Isaiah quietly introduce another layer of uncertainty into an already emotional day. The details remain closely guarded, leaving everyone to speculate about what these revised terms might actually mean. Given everything Ava has survived, many believe the discussion may center on her recovery and the support she needs moving forward. If that proves true, it would signal another important turning point in her journey toward healing, showing that she is beginning to reclaim control over her own future rather than allowing circumstances to define it. Every agreement reached now carries emotional significance because it reflects a woman determined not simply to survive, but to rebuild her life on her own terms. As hope slowly begins replacing uncertainty, Ava's story becomes another reminder that healing rarely happens overnight. It is built one difficult decision at a time. Then, just when viewers think the emotional journey has reached its peak, the story shifts toward one final, deeply touching moment that promises to leave a lasting impression. June's return immediately brings back memories of Samantha's unforgettable cotillion, a night filled with celebration, pride, and dreams coming true as Samantha earned the honor of becoming Platinum Deb. It was a milestone that symbolized growth, family, and the promise of brighter days ahead. Now June finds herself facing another unforgettable moment, though this time the emotions are far quieter and infinitely more personal. A gift arrives that completely catches her off guard, touching something deep within her heart that words alone cannot express. The instant she realizes its meaning, her carefully held composure begins to crumble, and tears fill her eyes before she can stop them. Those tears are not simply the result of surprise. They reflect the overwhelming power of love, memory, and appreciation. Sometimes the smallest gestures carry the greatest emotional weight, reminding us that we are seen, valued, and remembered even during life's most difficult seasons. Whatever this gift represents, it reaches June on a profoundly personal level, creating one of those rare television moments where silence becomes more powerful than any speech. In a single emotional scene, viewers are reminded that even amid courtroom battles, painful secrets, fractured relationships, and uncertain futures, there is still room for kindness that heals the soul. As Friday's episode draws to its moving conclusion, Beyond the Gates leaves its audience with hearts racing from suspense, minds spinning with unanswered questions, and emotions lingering long after the final scene fades to black, setting the stage for even greater revelations still waiting just beyond the horizon.